Honorable Ssemujju Ibrahim. Formally.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you. On Sunday, we buried a former Member of Parliament, Honorable Hussein Chanjo. I thank you for your contribution towards that burial. And I also thank members of Parliament who made the contributions and those who traveled to Bukoma and Simbi. Madam Speaker, the issue I want to raise all the speeches at his funeral, including a speech by the Honorable Asman Vasari, who was the president of JEMA, pointed to the fact that Honorable Chanjo was poisoned. Before I left the media, one of the stories I did was a story of the president flying his daughter for antenatal care to Spain. And the president said he did not trust Morago because he feared they would poison his daughters. Now that poison has become part of, unfortunately, of our lives. Madam Speaker, I am requesting you to institute a committee of Parliament to investigate these claims. Because I have told you, the president said the reason he flew his daughter was because he feared poison, and he said in Morago. So we are now fearing, even at Parliament at one time, there were stories of poison, and some MPs had abandoned the canteen. So this being a serious matter, I am requesting you, Madam Speaker, to institute a committee to look into these matters before we have more people falling victim to poison.
My apologies. I forgot to announce to the House the demise of our former colleague, Honorable Chanjo Hussein. And I am speaking of the one I know. I am here to get an Honorable Mate. May we rise and observe a moment of silence.
May their souls rest in eternal peace.
Honorable members, I will not indulge myself in discussion of poison, but to the best of my knowledge, on the issues of taking the daughter for treatment out of the country, we have also tried to be taking Honorable Chanjo for treatment out of the country. Honorable Asuman will testify to that, unless you've not been delivering the message. Because we've been sending you.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you. And maybe before I comment on that issue, I want to thank you for the support and also the members of Parliament. I and Honorable Ssemujju and the leader of opposition have been moving around with the papers asking for support from the MPs. And right on, Speaker, the MPs have been providing the support. And we are really very grateful as JEMA. JEMA has had 2 MPs are now remaining alone, right on, Speaker, with the demise of Chanjo. In your case, I have been coming to you personally, asking for support from Honorable Chanjo, and I want to confirm, right on, Speaker, that each time I have come to your office, you have been providing the necessary financial support. And it has been acknowledged. It was acknowledged in Chibuli. It was even acknowledged in Bukoma and Simbi by the family. We want to thank you for that. But right on, Speaker, on the issue of the poison, you have rightly said you will not indulge yourself in it. But today we need to ask, in what fora and at what time we need to discuss it. Because even in one of the dailies today, there is a suspected case of poisoning by a minister. In one of the dailies. And a minister has been a victim. And the daily was saying he was flown to Turkey. I've just been reading the headlines. So it raises a lot of fear and suspicion. Right on, Speaker, one time General Tinyefunza, who is now Sejusha, paid a visit to the Jema State House in Mengo.
Honorable, I told you when we were starting, we've come for a specific item. When we want to discuss about poison, we will have a session for poison. The problem we have in Uganda, whoever dies of anything, it is poison. Whoever dies of anything, it is a poison. And poison can be anywhere, even in your villages. Even food poisoning, even the food we eat. And I think that's why you're bringing that bill, the counterfeit law, because of the counterfeit. After the initial extension of the affected local councils, the responsibility will rest squarely on this House, because it is this House that does appropriation. We need to appropriate money for the election of the local councils, and it is also a responsibility of this House that upon expiry, if no elections take place, it is this House to extend their term of office. So I want to urge the Minister, much as we're extending the term, much as you're laying the statutory instrument, let's have elections. Let's have elections. Give us a budget of what you've agreed to conduct elections. Who will provide money for that? We want elections to take place. Honorable Minister, please go ahead and lay the statutory instrument.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. I beg to lay on table the statutory instrument number 63 of 2023, the local governments, in bracket, amendments of third schedule, instrument 2023. I beg to lay.
Thank you, members. That is the instrument extending the term of office of the local councils by 180 days. Honorable members, yes, shadow local.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, we are not going to engage ourselves in a debate anymore on this issue. What we wanted is an instrument, a legal instrument, extending the term.
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, with your indulgence, Right Honorable Speaker, we need this clarity, because when you look at the illegality that has been put forward upon this House, we need some more clarity. And we really want to get assurance from this, from the side, from the minister. Because when you look at the
What assurance do you want?
What assurance? What we are saying, if you are saying that you are giving we are giving 180 days to see that these local councils are in place, can we get to know how we are going to see that this is really effective? Because according to the provisions made in this instrument, you are giving leeway that at any appropriate time, given the last part that is being put, that as long as it has become extremely difficult or impossible to conduct elections for the administrative unit councils. So isn't that an item that is being inserted that is open every time? Some information.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
I didn't
cite
give you,
Article
I
1,
didn't
Clause
give
4.
you, I didn't give you.
It was information.
I did not give you. So are you done, Ethel? Ethel, you're done? Yes. Can I first,
Speaker, I'd ask for some information. I'd granted
you
information.
become a speaker today?
Yeah, sure.
You
Thank
become
you. Thank you, Honorable Member,
Please
for
sit,
giving.
member sit. Yes,
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm just seeking clarification.
there is a procedure matter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the instrument has been laid. And you have said there will be no further debate on it. I am seeking two procedural issues. The first, you being the custodian of our rules, to guide Parliament whether the expiry of a term that actually occurred and people even left office, whether there was actually anything to extend because they had already left office. And two, Madam Speaker, whether by your ruling, which the rules make it very difficult to challenge, Parliament now becomes responsible for this instrument.
I like the way you're all standing. Yes,
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm glad you have highlighted the provision under Section 175(3) that the rules the regulations once tabled before Parliament has 2 weeks within which to make a decision. However, I want to say something about a query raised by Honorable Nganda about extension in retrospect. Article 92, if I'm not mistaken, says you cannot make a law to retrospectively change a decision of a court. Okay? And this is not a court ruling. In the past, we have made laws here and given them retrospective effect. We have made the ECOP law, the East African Crude Oil Pipeline law. We gave it retrospective effect. Let me pick a list, Right Honorable Speaker, and I read it to you. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member, don't heckle that you'll take a member to court. I don't think there is any road that is closed that is denying you from going to court. Please go. No, you don't need to ask for permission to go to court. Why don't you respect each other? Please.
We passed the Traffic and Road Safety Act 1998. We passed the Traffic and Road Safety Act 1998, Amendment 2 of 2003, and gave it retrospective effect. We passed the Mining and Minerals Act 2002 and gave it retrospective effect. We passed the East African Crude Oil Pipeline, ECOP, special provisions, and gave it effect. I can give you information. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Right Honourable Speaker, let me give information to my learned brother on this matter. I want to invite you, learned Attorney General, to read Section 17 of the Interpretation Act. And actually, the problem is not the retrospective application of this instrument. That's not the problem. Because Section 17 of the Interpretation Act, Right Honourable Speaker, says the statutory instrument may be made to operate retrospectively. So that's not the problem. So the issue under consideration, and in answering this, you don't even have to cite these cases you are citing. They are unnecessary and inapplicable in the circumstances because you are dealing with a statutory instrument. And when you are dealing with application of a statutory instrument, retrospectively, you have to seek refuge in the Interpretation Act. And Section 17, subsection 2 is your refuge. But Right Honourable Speaker, but that is information. Right Honourable Speaker, if you give me opportunity, I would like to submit on this matter beyond the retrospective application of this law. With your indulgence, Right Honourable Speaker. But that's the information I wanted to give that to the General.
There is something that needs to be answered. Now that you've brought a statutory instrument and you're asking for 180 days, when are we going to have elections? That is what members want to hear. When do we have elections?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, government is committed to have elections for LOC1 and LOC2, subject to availability of funds. But as we speak now, the councils need guidance on how to proceed. So this instrument is to guide within this period of 6 months, and after 6 months, I want to believe that we shall have had the resources. The finance minister is here, and then we shall move. But this instrument is for this period.
Can I hear from Honorable?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity. I am just seeking clarification on the effect of the statutory instrument on my villages in the constituency, which have had no chairman, or given that chairman died a long time ago. It would seem to me that the instrument is giving authority to dead men to govern the villages from the comfort of their graves. I am seeking clarification. I just need clarification on the criminal in seeking clarification so that I may understand better. I just want to understand. Why are people going in arms? I am seeking clarification whether the dead men govern my villages from the comfort of their graves.
Honorable Member, you continue making noise. Yes.
Thank you. Right Honourable Speaker, the member is entitled to getting clarification on this matter. The Local Government Act is clear. When the chairperson dies or resigns or leaves office, the vice chairperson takes over. So for now, the status quo prevails.
You first shout until you get tired. Honorable members, I put a question that the statutory instrument number 63 of 2023
Thank you, Right Honourable
Honourable members, out of respect for Leader of Opposition, and he's a Leader of Opposition, I am giving him to give his views. He was part of the meeting. He actually advised the minister on the right thing to do.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. For the record, I should state that it was an informal meeting, and therefore there was no record taken. Secondly, now let me clarify. It's true, I advised the Attorney General to bring the instrument and justify its legality. That's really a no-brainer. That's what I had to do as the law. And here we are, Right Honourable Speaker. The minister has brought the statutory instrument. We are breaking down its legality and space in Parliament. Right Honourable Speaker, Section 175 is very clear. If you have a Government Act, the minister shall, as soon as practicable, after publication of such an instrument under this section, cause the instrument to be laid before Parliament. And the Parliament may amend or revoke the statutory instrument. And if no amendment or revocation is effected within 2 weeks of its being laid before Parliament, it shall be deemed to have been approved. That Honourable Speaker, here we are, it's being laid. It can't be pushed down our throats. We have to actually break it down and appreciate the efficacy of its contents. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to seek for your indulgence to allow Parliament to debate, to amend the contents, or even revoke it. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, this is about us and our people. It's not anybody's tool to go. And I would like you to allow me to really have my take on the instrument, Right Honourable Speaker.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to refer you to Rule 175.3. The minister shall, as soon as practicable, after the publication of the statutory instrument under this section, cause the instrument to be laid before Parliament, and Parliament may, can you kindly sit? Kindly. And Parliament may, and I'm repeating, may. The Parliament may amend or revoke the statutory instrument. And if no amendment or revocation is affected, within 2 weeks of being laid before Parliament. Within 2 weeks of being laid within Parliament can even be 1 hour. Within 2 weeks. Honorable members, and as I said before, and I want to plead with my brother, Lob, that we are dealing in a state of emergency. I want to tell you, I have people who are even in prison and cannot get out because we don't have the LOC ones in place. I want to plead with you.
That Honourable Speaker, there's no quarrel about it, and if you allowed us to debate this, you'd even see the efficacy of causing some amendments.
Okay.
For instance,
let's give 10 people to debate.
Thank you. And let me offer leadership, Right Honourable Speaker.
Please offer leadership.
Right Honourable Speaker, in the first place, I agree with you that we have a crisis, a procedural crisis, because a government slept on duty. And being in a crisis, we may not really allow ourselves to pass a regulation that has particular provisions that offend the Constitution and the law. And you see, let me make this very clear. There's nothing wrong with the minister bringing in regulations. That should be understood. But we need to understand the context.
There's a procedural matter.
Madam Speaker, the instrument has been laid. I know the NRM government is very creative. They can even resurrect the dead. But the procedural issue I am raising, Madam Speaker, you have allowed us to debate the instrument. I don't know the content. I don't have it. Can this Parliament debate a document it does not have? How do I speak about content I don't know and don't have, Madam Speaker?
Honorable members, I like my members of parliament because I want to refer you, the document is on the Gazette. Can we have, Mr. Kema, is the document uploaded? Is it uploaded? As we get the document.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Just to have our take on the instrument. Right Honourable Speaker, I appreciate the importance of legislation in defining the trajectory of governance, and that's why you are referring to a crisis. However, I have a challenge when governance is supposed to be done by legal engineering, when we had time to have these issues rectified through budgetary processes. In that regard, Mr. Speaker, I have very strong reservations about the instrument and obtaining from the third schedule of the government regulations. The context, in my view, is premised on the difference between the rule of law as we know it and the rule by law. We all know the heritage of the rule of law as it obtains. Mr. Speaker, let's look at this. What is the intent of the instrument as we have it? The minister is making an insertion in the regulations. My concern is in regard to paragraph 11AD, and I'll quote, that the minister may, with the prior approval of cabinet, extend, renew, reinstate, or validate the term of office of administrative unit councils where it has become extremely difficult or impossible to conduct elections for administrative unit councils. The effect of this, Mr. Speaker, is the classical case of rule by law. And the phrase I'm quoting is whereby it has become extremely difficult or impossible. This, Mr. Speaker, may be used conveniently if you look at it. I don't know where the minister gets the feeling that it can be extremely difficult or impossible, and who determines extremely difficult and impossible. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is going to be conveniently used at the whims of the government to inhibit the right to vote. First and foremost, this provision is ambiguous and generally subjective. For instance, the words and phrases extremely difficult or impossible used in the instrument are vague. They are ambiguous and uncertain, and they're generally subjective. The right to vote is so vital that any provision that seeks to inhibit its exercise must be clear, precise, and concise. What would be, for example, the threshold of whether it is extremely difficult or impossible? Who determines that threshold of extremely difficult or impossible? So that we are able to determine it. That the minister sits and says it's now extremely difficult and it's impossible, Mr. Speaker. So he brings an instrument and we ratify because it's extremely difficult and impossible. Mr. Speaker, the words and the phrase extremely difficult or impossible connote many meanings. It renders it prone to abuse and misuse. And that takes me to the question of purpose of the SI, Mr. Speaker. What is the purpose of this instrument? Government is on record stating that they did not sufficient budget for local government elections, and therefore there are no funds for these activities at the moment. In our view, this does not call for amendment of the law to give government an open road or work chooses. If they are genuine in what they are currently, that they lack funds currently, we may allow time to mobilize funds to hold elections as provided under the law. This is a question of poor planning and does not call for amendment of the law to include a ground for always covering up a messed up budgeting process by MDAs. And it's very clear, if you look at Regulation 11, Honourable Speaker, and we need to really be very clear. Extension referred to 11.2. Extension of the referred to may be renewed by a resolution of Parliament. A resolution does not mean amending the law, Right Honourable Speaker. You don't have to amend the law. That's why when the minister said that he's going to bring a regulation, I said, bring it. I'm subject to debate. This is the debate is running away from. If you go under Regulation 11.2, you don't need this statutory instrument. It is a total grass to hide ineptitude.
Thank you, Rob, for giving way. The information I wanted to give you is that the Honorable Magezi likes extending things. You remember he's the one who removed the age limit? He likes making people cry. Now he has come to say, now we extend LCs.
Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members. Honourable members. When you look at what Lob is talking about, extension of term of the council, and is referring to 11.2, that where you have 11.2, the extension referred to in sub-regulation 1 may be renewed by a resolution of Parliament. What he's saying, we didn't need this statutory instrument. We could as well renew it by a resolution of Parliament. That's what he's saying. Yes, go ahead.
Honourable Speaker, why I'm saying this is that the minister is hiding under this instrument to expand his powers. And enlarging the powers is irregular using this instrument. That's why I'm saying that if he was indeed genuine in what he intended to do, initially that there was no money, he's now introducing, he's importing in new powers to determine extremely difficult and impossible, which we are saying makes this instrument rather out of the space of law. It's a form of legal engineering that this House must reject. If the minister wanted to extend the term of office of these local councils, in any case, Article 207 does not even envisage the powers of the minister for LCs. It only talks about local governments. It would be a commitment from finance to say we do not have money.
Honourable member, leader of opposition, the minister is not expanding in his powers. It is the law that vests the powers on the minister. When you look at 175, the minister may, by statutory instrument, make regulations for better carrying into effect of the provisions of this act. You are the ones who gave the minister powers. He's not extending them.
The provisions are that the council term has expired.
Some information.
And that's not about regulation, it's about the Constitution, Right Honourable Speaker.
Information to you, Lord. Thank you very much. Right Honourable Speaker, law refers to Section 11 of Schedule 3. Allow me, colleagues, to read it. It's an extension of the term of the council. The minister may, with the prior approval of cabinet, extend the term of office of a local government council or a number of local government councils from 4 years for a further period not exceeding 6 months, where Uganda is in a state of war, Uganda is in a state of emergency, any district or part of a district has been declared disturbed. Now, subsection 2 is the extension referred to in this sub-regulation 1 may be renewed by resolution of Parliament. Right Honourable Speaker, the critical word here is under sub-regulation 1, we are talking about approval of extending the term of office of a local government council. The proposed amendment is not about a local government council. It's about a local administrative unit. I don't know whether this matter is easily understood. And then sub-regulation 2, which talks about extension referred to may be renewed by resolution of Parliament. My understanding is we extend for 6 months. If in any case the minister wants to come to have a further extension, this shall only be renewed by resolution of Parliament. So it would not be proper now to apply the 11, which is on local government councils, on the proposed amendment, which is about administrative units. Yeah.
You take the next breath. Will you quote the law that allows you to extend the term of administrative units?
No, Right Honourable Speaker, let's look at the Local Government Act, Section 175. Subsection 1 is clear. The minister may, by statutory instrument, which exactly is what I'm doing, make regulations for better carrying into effect the provisions of this act. The second one, Honourable Kanya, the minister may, by statutory instrument, and with the approval of cabinet, amend, replace, alter, revoke any of the schedules provided under this act. And the minister shall not have power to delegate this function. I'm exactly doing what the law tells me to do.
Honourable members, in the
Chair.
public gallery this morning, cool down, cool down.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. With your permission, Right Honourable Speaker, and given the urgency of the matter, may I move the motion that you put the question?
Right Honourable Speaker, no. No. If you are not prepared, please do not. No. We are not going to allow you to do that. If you are not prepared,
Honourable Law.
Yes. Let me be patient.
Honourable Law. You guys. Honourable members, I will not chair a house where there is chaos. I will not, and I am repeating this, I will not. Lob, have you finished your submission?
I think,
Honourable members, once the minister makes a presentation under Rule 53, the leader of opposition has a right to reply. Which he's doing. He's making a reply.
That was Speaker. I think
don't make me suffocate leader of opposition.
We need to agree on this.
Leader of opposition, I want to request you, and I know you know very well the agents we need these people. What is the amendment that you're making? Are you comfortable with 180 days? If you're not comfortable, let's say, well, let's reduce the number of days and we provide money. That is one. Let's look at
Right Honourable Speaker. If you are going to
let's
help,
look at something that is tenable.
if you are going to help this country as legislators, you know, sometimes we want to win at all times, even when there's nobody to defeat. And it really baffles me. So in this case,
nobody wants to win.
and in this case,
We need to help this country.
who is supposed to lose in this debate? Madam Speaker. So may I
Can
invite,
you
through
pause?
you, may I seek your kind indulgence to ask of the Honourable Minister of Local Government to be patient and listen. We can actually listen to each other and disagree honorably about the matters obtaining. For example, I raised the matter of the minister wishing to, through this instrument, he caused an amendment in 11A and made an insertion D. It's initially, there were provisions that the extension is only feasible in a state of war, in an emergency, in a declaration that the district has been taken over. And then it added a D. It has become extremely difficult or impossible to conduct elections for administrative units. But, Honourable Speaker, this is a new insertion in the regulation. And we are saying it is making provision for overbearing.
I want to refer you to 175.2. A minister may, by statutory instrument and with the approval of cabinet, amend, replace, alter, or revoke any of the schedules provided under this act. And the minister is acting under 175.2.
Honourable Speaker, I agree entirely. And I'm saying if he does it, it might be subjected to the law. If he brings it, he's not bringing it really to us to really throw it down our throats. It is his proposal, and that proposal must be subject to the Constitution.
Can I refer you to Article 202C, 1C? Article 202, it says where it becomes extremely difficult or impossible for the district government to function. The words extremely difficult are got from the Constitution. They are not a creation of anybody.
Honourable Speaker, there is no situation where it's extremely difficult for local government to function and other governments, parts of government are functioning. And that's why it's in the Constitution. The local government issue is very particular, and the provision was put there, and the minister is saying, even in this case, it can happen. And we are saying, you cannot do that because it will be usurpation of the power of the people.
Please summarize.
And the excuse, Honourable Speaker, listen. Let the minister listen. Yeah. Honourable Speaker, we are alive. And may we, like you guided, let's give 10 members decide to present their issues. Because this is our law.
Honourable members, the decision is on the Speaker. Look, can you finish?
No, Right Honourable Speaker, no. It's because the Right Honourable Speaker committed.
Can you finish? I gave 10 members to speak.
Yes.
So are you done?
I'm finalizing.
Okay.
You see, Right Honourable Speaker, and you see, the Speaker cannot be challenged. And I want to seek her indulgence to allow this side to debate their statutory instrument so that they do not disorganize the Speaker, because they are disorganizing the Speaker and not giving her space to guide the House. Will they really, the Speaker is not part of cabinet where you sat and brought this. So will you allow the Speaker to be the arbiter in this debate so that you make your presentation and stop interfering with the work of the Speaker? You are comparing the Speaker, you are forcing the Speaker to debate because you are mute over what you have brought.
Honourable
The Speaker will not do your work.
Honourable members, please sit. Are you done, Law?
Honourable Speaker, having listened to the Minister, deriving his powers from Section 175(1) and 2 to cause amendment on the schedule, third schedule of the Local Government Act, and also having listened to clarification on section 11 of the third schedule, that gives the minister the powers, and realizing that it is still extremely difficult to run operations in this country because of financial difficulties government faces. And because we have not provided money for the elections of LCs, it gets back to us, Right Honorable Speaker, that we now give government time within the 180 days to look for money so that the elections of the LCs can be held. But in the meantime, Right Honorable Speaker, the local council are vital in certain operations in this country, for example, courts. You cannot get to court to stand surety for anybody without the letter of the LC. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, is it in the interest of this parliament that the people who are facing court of laws are not allowed to get bail just because we want to take a lot of time debating and arguing something which is clear? Right Honorable Speaker, based on that, I want to move a motion that a question be put and we deal with this matter and pass the resolution. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, I said I will give 10 people. You are just the second one. Okay, Rory? No, but stopped. You will not speak.
I've had detailed submission from government through the Minister of Local Government and the law. Right Honorable Speaker, as I talk now, majorly we people on the borders, there is a big crisis. A big crisis because there are many matters that are not moving because we have no legal LOC1 chairpersons on the borders. And Madam Speaker, as I talk now, the people of Busia municipality brought me here to make the laws. And I think that is our mandate as the August House of this country. I therefore want to agree and call upon my colleagues that the extension of 180 days should be supported so that the LOCs should go on and work so that the country is not held at standstill. Because the fact of the matter, there are people's rights that are being abused because they need LOC1 letters to get out of prisons. This is a fact. And this is the fact that we are the only person who can cure that. And this is the time. I therefore support the extension as quick as possible so that we can have the rights of people given them because it is their right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, the administrative units are a creature of the Local Government Act. And as rightly cited by different speakers, Section 175, particularly subsection 2, is very clear. The minister has got the powers to amend the schedules. And the colleagues, the schedules are part of the Local Government Act. And that is why Regulation 11 clearly vests the powers deriving from Section 175(2) of the Local Government Act. Now, the question as to whether the minister has powers or not has been settled. What is important now is whether what the leader of opposition was referring to, the amendment, particularly the condition D, who will determine the extreme impossibility or difficulty. The minister will determine, and when it appears before Parliament, we also have a law to determine whether what the minister is proposing is impossible or not. So, colleagues, this is not only left to the minister, because when you look at Section 175, subsection 3, the total instrument is supposed to be laid before Parliament, and we can amend or revoke. And that is what we are now doing today. Even tomorrow, if there is such an issue, the instrument will be laid before this Parliament, and we shall have a role to play. Therefore, Madam Speaker, my submission is that what the minister has done is right, and from a legal point of view, there is nothing wrong that he has done. And my submission is that we should support the extension. And there is nothing wrong, colleagues. You know what is happening in this country. All of us, we shall be responsible if we don't do this. Can I allow information from my sister?
Is to represent our people. And over the weekend, I was at the constituency, and every Monday we have the cattle markets. But we noticed that because of lack of the LC1 letters, it has become very difficult to process movement permits and for the livestock markets to operate. In addition, land transactions are not able to take place. Right, Honorable Speaker, I have nothing more useful to add.
Honorable
the Minister has provided a solution. I support the extension.
Honorable Yusuf, that is not you. That is not you, the one I know. Please.
So, Speaker, I was saying that at the weekend, our duty is to represent our people. And I raised that the cattle markets are not able to operate effectively because the LC1s are not able to issue letters to support movement permits. As a result of that, they asked me for an answer which I didn't have. Today, the Minister of Local Government has come with an answer. And therefore, I have nothing more useful to add but to support the extension of this term. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Suma.
To begin with the issue raised by the Right Honorable Leader of Opposition. Right Honorable Speaker, I think we should not be misunderstood. We are all in this together. But let us do it decently with the procedural propriety. I am on record for providing some way forward. I don't want us, Right Honorable Speaker, to be emotional and even not to take sides. The other day, the Minister for Information was at Media Center saying government has extended the term of office. He was at the government media center, as if on his own they have that power without input of Parliament. You would even ask, why are they now coming to Parliament? But I don't want to go there. Right Honorable Speaker, there are two issues. Number one, as a way forward, Minister Raphael Majezi, my friend, this statutory instrument in itself is not extending the term of office of the current LCs. In itself. There are consequential actions. What are those consequential actions? This statutory instrument is merely giving you authority to extend term of office over administrative units. It is not extending. Previously, we have had Regulation 11 for local councils. The law was silent on administrative units. So through this regulation, you are trying to get authority to regulate tenure over administrative units. This should be understood, because colleagues are debating as if this in itself has already made the extension, that tomorrow you can go to an LC and say, Parliament did this. No. The consequential action is that you must gazette a program specifically highlighting the tenure, not this. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, and me, I'm providing way forward. So from here, there must be a program which must be gazetted, because precisely that's what the law says. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, the fear...
Honorable Asuman, I want to refer you to the Uganda Gazette. And I want to just furnish you with it, because it must be gazetted. And the Gazette is here.
Right Honorable Speaker, I am not talking about gazetting the instrument, because the instrument has been gazetted. That's what has been gazetted is the authority to extend the tenure. I know the minister understands me, because he has been in local government. The minister understands me. And I am not talking about that. The consequential actions must follow this authority. That is one. Number two, Right Honourable Speaker, I want to beg and seek indulgence of this House that clause D.
Honorable members, the plan that after approval of this, that he has to gazette is very correct.
But this is what I'm talking
Very
about.
correct. And you must do it. It's something that you must do.
Right Honourable Member is very correct. And I'm mindful of my obligation. Just give me the law and I'll proceed with the instruments. Thank you.
Honorable members, Honorable Suman always comes up with the way forward. No.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for appreciating my point in good faith. Number two, Right Honourable Speaker, the idea of extreme difficulty or impossibility being brought in this piece of instrument is something I want to beseech my colleagues to drop. It is going to create ambiguous
What
authority.
amendment are you bringing to that?
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to propose that we maintain the wording of clause of Regulation 11 as it is, because Regulation 11 makes three provisions.
No. We don't have a state of emergency. We don't have a state. We are not in war.
Then Right Honourable Speaker, then what we could do, let him say in this amendment that when it has financially become difficult to organize elections, let us be specific. Otherwise, making it this broad is susceptible to abuse, and that's where my problem is. Let him be very clear on the reason here. Otherwise, making this very broad will cause us a lot of problems, and the risk, Right Honourable Speaker, the risk is that the minister will be coming and extending tenure willy-nilly without an objective consideration. I beg to submit.
Right Honourable Speaker.
I therefore move to amend. Right Honourable Speaker.
First hear from the minister. Not got this from nowhere. It is from the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Now,
Right Honourable
those
Speaker,
are wordings of the Constitution.
I sat and listened to colleague Honourable Asuman, but now I'm speaking and he's running. I don't understand. Okay, let's understand each other. Do you want to make a law where you are saying only when there is financial difficulty, and then the next day there is another difficulty, and next day, why don't we give the law as it is? Because there may be other difficulties, colleagues. For me,
you've made your submission.
We're saying,
and the minister is saying he has just borrowed this wording
from the Constitution.
From the Constitution. It is on Article 202C of the Constitution.
Right Honourable Speaker, again to provide a leeway. Minister, the reason why Parliament, the purpose of subsidiary legislation, I am now giving the broader purpose of subsidiary legislation, is to give flexibility to ministers and government officers to make a law. That is the purpose. It is actually possible to have as many statutory instruments as there can be. There is no problem. It is actually safer to be very specific on the purpose of extension than making this broad. Right Honourable Speaker, this broadness...
How specific do you want him to be?
I have provided.
No,
because what is very clear, Right Honourable Speaker, is that we don't have money at the moment to hold elections.
Who says we don't have money?
But that is the point being given.
It is because you did not appropriate money for it.
Okay, so Right Honourable Speaker, let me say this. Let me say this.
Honourable members, it is not true. It is not true that we don't have money. It is not true that we don't have the money. But it is also true that we did not appropriate for that.
Then, Right Honourable Speaker, The reason why, Honorable Speaker, I am insisting on this
You're
point.
overgrabbing the microphone. Honorable members.
Finally.
Honorable members. The issue of contention is re-amend the wording of section of Part D. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. No amendment. The nays have it. Honorable members, I want to thank Honorable Suman so much for much as you've gazetted the instrument, you need to gazette your work plan. The work plan must be gazetted. I now put a question that the statutory instrument number 63 of 23, the local government amendment of third schedule, instrument 2023 be approved by this House. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. Yes.
Madam
Item.
Procedure.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when I wanted to raise information, you indicated that we members of the Budget Committee did not provide money. Madam Speaker, Article 93 is categorical and clear that we cannot increase the ceiling. It is restriction on financial matters.
Honorable members, I'm not discussing about finances now. You are not the one who originates the budget framework paper. If it was not included in the budget framework paper, the ministerial statement, would you import it? No, it is just from the beginning. And I want to ask government, honorable members, I want government to ensure that we have elections. Let's have elections.
Madam Speaker.
And Honorable Minister of Local Government, can you give us a specific work plan that makes sure that we have elections even before the 6 months? Really?
Madam Speaker.
From government.
Right, Honorable Speaker. This is an obligation, a statutory obligation. Now that the instrument has been approved, it is my task and my obligation and duty under 1752 to provide the necessary guidance to the country on how the LOCs are going to proceed. We shall do that by next week. We'll have something, the guideline laid on table, and it will have been gazetted. Yes, it will be a program with clear guidelines, gazetted, and laid on table next week. Thank you.
Next item.
Item 4.2, laying of papers.
Record. It is important, Madam Speaker, that our people on the ground understand that it was not this Parliament that did not provide money for LOC elections. Because, and the Minister of Finance, Madam Speaker, needs to come on record and inform the country that during the budget presentation, you did not provide for the necessary resource. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, we will have a problem on the ground. I beg for your indulgence.
Honorable members, as Parliament, we approve what is given to us. We don't go on a fishing expedition. We only approve what is brought to the House. So finance should provide money. Finance should provide money for the election of the LOC 1s and 2s. Yes, Betty.
Right Honorable Speaker, what had gone on record and what had been told to the public is that we did not have money for LOC1 elections. But now that we have heard that the money is available, and I'm quoting my speaker, and she's the only person who can guide me here, not you. Madam Speaker, the guidance I'm seeking is, a while ago, Madam Speaker, you properly told us that the fact was that the money was not allocated, but the fact is that we have the money as a country. We are not bankrupt. And Madam Speaker, for record, this Parliament changed the LOC1 election system to make it cheaper. And an amendment was made by this Parliament to make the LOC1 elections cheaper by lining in the backs of the people standing for office. Now that, Madam Speaker, we know that the money will be available, would it be procedural okay for the Minister to tell us when he will be bringing the supplementary here so that we can approve funds very fast and then appoint the date for the elections? Madam Speaker, I beg to be guided. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, why should we start speaking about supplementary? We even have 3%, which can cover the elections. Why are we encouraging these people to bring supplementary? Huh? Next item.
Item 4.2, laying of papers, Treasury memo.